Bienvenue sur Africa 24. Nomusa Dube-Ncube, gouverneur de la province du Kwazulu-Natal en Afrique du Sud, a participé à la deuxième retraite conjointe du Conseil de paix et de sécurité de l'Union africaine et du Mécanisme africain d'évaluation par les paix MAEP, tenue du 14 au 15 novembre 2022 en Durban en Afrique du Sud. Dans cette édition de Décryptage, Madame Nomusa Dube-Ncube nous parle des enjeux de l'organisation de cette retraite pour la province du Kwazulu-Natal. Madame Nomusa Dube-Ncube, merci d'avoir accepté notre invitation. Vous avez participé à la deuxième retraite conjointe du Conseil de paix et de sécurité de l'Union africaine et du MAEP à Durban. Que représente la tenue de cette retraite au Kwazulu-Natal pour la province?
Well, thank you very much. It's very important for us to be hosting this joint retreat. As you know that we are very popular in KwaZulu-Natal and Durban for hosting global events. But also we were fortunate enough there to host the inaugural meeting of the African Union, where all the leaders in Africa, you know, when the African Union was formed from the AOU, we became the hosts for the first time to give birth to this giant of Africa.
Quelle est l'importance de cette retraite au vu de la réalité africaine caractérisée par de nombreuses menaces à la paix et à la sécurité?
I think this gathering is very, very important for all of us in Africa, because it needs to assert the commitment of all of us as African that we need to work towards silencing the guns. But also it needs all of us as well to understand that we're not without a united Africa. Without an Africa that seeks to empower each other, that seeks to ensure that there are proper skills for the African nations, to mobilize resources, financial resources, human resource, capacity for us as Africa. We will not be able to win this battle of empowering the African nations, but also of empowering the people of Africa. We would know that we are still one of the continents where the high unemployment rate, high poverty rates that you see in and around Africa, inequalities that you see in and around Africa. So without really dealing with the root causes of those, social, wars and those conflicts that we see, they will continue to happen. So there is a need for us really to address the issues of poverty, to address the issues of inequality, but also to seek to unite all of us as African and view ourselves as one. So as well to take advantage of our numbers in trading with the global world.
À l'ouverture de cet événement, vous avez réaffirmé l'engagement du gouvernement provincial à œuvrer pour faire progresser la paix et la stabilité en Afrique, tout en soutenant les efforts du Conseil de paix et de sécurité de l'Union africaine et du MAEP pour relever les défis auxquels le continent est confronté. Y a-t-il des projets en cours dans ce sens?
Yes, we are very excited that our hosting of this event really affirms our commitment as a country, South Africa, but also as the province, working with Accord to further support any initiatives that are facilitating peace within the African continent. In this regard, we continue to support all the training programs, training of the women, training of the youth, training of the local communities in measures of ensuring that we resolve our conflicts through dialogue. We resolve our conflict through sitting down and listening to one another. So this conference also for us means that we are going to be extending the understanding and the knowledge of the African continent, the capacity that we have to support all these initiatives that we are talking about, but particularly the empowering of the local communities to understand that Africa is not just about South Africa, but Africa has got its roots from the colonialism that we've all experienced in Africa. And we need to rid our children, of that notion, that does not understand that it's not about you, but it's about all of us surviving as Africans, but it's also about uniting as Africans that will make us to prosper, that will make us to have peace amongst the nations of Africa.
La province du Kwazulu-Natal est confrontée à de nombreux défis liés à l'insécurité et aux catastrophes naturelles. En 2022, la province a connu des inondations meurtrières qui ont fait des milliers de morts et d'importantes destructions. Quelles mesures ont été prises par le gouvernement provincial pour prévenir ces désastres?
Well, we are working very hard really to ensure that when we build, our infrastructure is resilient towards disasters. We are also ensuring that we institutionalize disaster management within all the structures, including the local communities. We're also working with various non-governmental organizations as well as other bodies to ensure that we deepen the training and the understanding of our communities on the matters of disasters. We've also taken a conscious decision to ensure that the economic development, particularly supporting the small and medium enterprises, supporting small businesses owned by youth, by women, by disabled people, by military veterans, must be at the top of our agenda as this government. And if we can really deliver on those aspects, we think that we would have dealt with the core or with the root causes of this social unrest and the social issues that we see in and around us all the time.
L'Afrique du Sud a organisé ses premières élections démocratiques en 1994, après la fin de l'apartheid. Quelles leçons pouvons-nous tirer de cette transition pacifique pour des pays africains confrontés à des situations de conflit?
Well, you would know that as South Africa, particularly here in KwaZulu-Natal, we've had quite a serious, problems of faction fighting, of African fighting one another in the 80s and the 90s. We've had to work very hard to sit down with various political parties, with various factions, to get them to understand that we cannot afford to kill one another because we are sisters and brothers. You can't afford to have your family not being able to visit your other family members because there are faction fights. So for us to really be where we are, it was through the sweat and the blood of women and men, of young people, all of us realizing that it's enough for us to kill each other, for nothing actually, but also to understand that there are people who don't want to see us succeeding. And if we continue then not thinking about the bigger picture, which is the future of our country, which is the future of our province, we will all perish. Nobody is going to succeed. You're not doing this to appease somebody else, but you are doing this for your own sake, for your own survival, because we've lost many lives. And one life that is lost is one too many. One family that is displaced is one family too many. So we do need stability amongst our society, our communities. We need to rebuild from the apartheid, at times. We need to rebuild from the colonialism that we've experienced over decades. And if we continue to fight from nothing, from the crumbs, we are not going to be able to realize our ultimate, that one of ensuring that not only are we liberated in terms of the ballot paper, but also economically liberated, land being in the hands of the majority of people of this country. And those are the things that we think are at the core for us to make people realize that we've got a lot to lose rather than, to gain if we continue with those conflicts and if we continue not being able to dialogue.
Quelle est votre vision pour les femmes dans la consolidation de la paix et la sécurité en Afrique?
Well, we believe that there is a very strong role that should be played by women. We've experienced it ourselves. that Africans and in Africa origin, women were highly regarded as peacemakers. Women were the ones who would sit down and be able to strategize for the family, even advising, the wars, the battles, as to how would they conquer when they go to wars. And when it's time to building, we believe that women should be at the center, because when you sit down with your kids as a mother, when you sit down with your family as a mother, surely they are bound to listen to you. So if women are put then at the center of conflict resolution, but also of all these discussions that are happening, we are sure that there is a lot that could be achieved. Even much faster, because sometimes you would find that people are not resolving issues, not because but it's because they're not listening to one another, but also because of the egos that people might be having. And if you have women there being able to dilute this kind of macho discussions, we believe that with that woman touch, with that nurturing ability that women have generally, we could achieve a lot in peacemaking.
Madame Nomusa Dube-Ncube, vous êtes la gouverneure de la province du Kwazulu-Natal en Afrique du Sud. Merci d'avoir répondu à nos questions. Merci à vous d'avoir suivi ce décryptage. L'actualité continue sur Africa 24.